So for this particular week, we are focusing on the thesis. It's English 103. And our thesis, we're following our formula of a 3-sentence structure. And this PowerPoint is provided for you on our Moodle page within thesis resources this week 11. There's 5 steps. So before you start the process, remember, what is a thesis? 1 to 3 sentences. It's a statement, not a question. And there's summary that you want your reader to understand when they're finished reading your paper. And as I've said several times, it's a roadmap. You're giving the reader a roadmap to what you're going to be covering in the paper. So remember, this is a research paper. So the basics of your thesis should include the topic. It can be 2 to 3 sentences long. Make sure you have a transition word in there. For example, however, because of, those kinds of things. Inform the reader of the structure. In other words, what's the order you're going to be covering things. So the order you list things in the thesis should match the order you talk about them in the body. And then don't forget to start your thesis with a description of your topic. In other words, give a little detail. And then, of course, in the second sentence, you can add your specifics and the layout. Step 1, make sure you know your topic. You should have your topic at this point. And then tell the reader why you're investigating, why you're researching this particular topic. So I give you an example here. Okay, that's step 1. Step 2, identify the specifics about your topic that the reader's going to get informed of later in the paper. Make sure you describe them and link them to any maybe important terms that are going to be given to them in your information. So then step 3 is transition. Transition words are connecting your sentences so they flow. Now I give you a whole list of transitions, although instead, whereas, conversely, basically choose 1 or 2 of them to connect your sentences. So if you have 2 sentence thesis, you don't need 2 of them, but I want you to strive to get a 3-sentence thesis. Therefore, 2 transitions at the beginning of each of sentence 2 and sentence 3. And then the final step is basically combining it so that it makes sense and it flows and includes all the elements that I have given you in this PowerPoint. So here we go. They started right away. Often therapy is thought of as sitting down with a psychologist talking about, so in other words, they're describing the topic, right? Then they go sentence 2, there's the transition word as well. And then you get into your second sentence. So in this case, they have 2 really large sentences and it works for the thesis. It covers all the elements. If you can't get it in 2, then of course you may do a 3rd. So your thesis statement creates the structure of your paper. Terms are the focus. In other words, if there's key terms you're going to be informing the reader about, make sure you include them. In a way, it's kind of like a mini outline of your paper. And if you're having trouble with the thesis, think about what were the questions you were researching to find out about information on your topic that will help you to generate them into sentence format for your thesis. The goal of the thesis is to combine your sentence so they make a fluid statement. This has to do with flow. Make sure your thesis statement has nice flow to it and it's not kind of clunky or chunky. So that resource is found in Informative Research Essay Thesis Resources. Another resource in this section is a thesis generator. Now I will give you a heads up, this is a little bit clunky. Input equals output. So in this one, the first thing they do is they start with what is the thesis statement, which you already know, but that's okay, it's good review. You click next and then, okay, which one are you trying to do? For us in this paper, it is a research thesis statement. And then this one is a plug and play. You fill in the boxes and it will produce a thesis statement. Now, I will forewarn you, as I said before, it is clunky. It will not be perfect. Output is only as good as your input. And you'll kind of see this. Let's try and do one together. Does somebody have a topic they want to share? And I'll just start putting theirs in. Anybody want to share? Nobody ever wants to share, do they? How about cats? Okay, cats are my favorite. I'm going to write about cats. What's my research question about cats? What is the, okay, here we go. What is the history of cats? What is my claim? Okay, cats have an interesting history. Now remember, that's my claim, that's my purpose for why I'm writing. I think there's an interesting history that I want to inform people about, okay? What is the strongest summary of research finding? Okay, so cats, I'm going to say cat behaviors. And then I'm going to go cats being domesticated. And then what is the strongest? So I say cats have an interesting history. Someone is against my claim, may think cats are boring. Okay. What's the possible title for my research paper? Cats as, I don't know. Cats are unique. Okay, that's that. So I'm just going to submit. Now, keep in mind, as I said, this is very rough. It is not perfect. You're definitely going to have cleanup. But here it is. Here's my claim. Here is what the majority of the research is saying. In other words, I'm informing the reader. And although some studies have indicated cats are boring, the majority of research says cats have an interesting history. Okay. Down at the bottom, they basically it evolves model 3, model 4, and then finally this bottom one is your quote unquote working thesis. While some studies have found that cats are boring, cat behaviors and cats being domesticated, indicating that cats have an interesting history. Okay, so you can see the verbiage is not perfect, but it gives you a working model. You have to do some cleanup there and at least get you started with a working thesis. Now, this is a one-sentence thesis. You could certainly clean it up and do better and get 2 to 3 sentences out of it. But that just kind of walks you through how this particular site works. And then, of course, the informative research essay thesis draft. This is a link to the assignment, okay? So these resources are provided to you in order to help you complete the activity right here. I do want to emphasize, you should know your topic and the elements you're going to cover in your essay. That's where you have to have done some research and have your sources kind of in place so you know what you're going to cover. Now, the other assignment that you're going to be doing is relating to credibility of your sources. And the crap test video quiz, this is an H5P from a YouTube. And just like with our other videos, there are questions embedded. There are a lot of questions. You can see here, there are multiple circles right here. As with all of the H5P videos, it's important that you not only watch the video, you answer the questions, but play it all the way through. Get down to the star. Make sure you go to the summary. Often there are questions in the summary you have to answer. And then at the end, you also have to submit. You know you completed it correctly if when you go to grades, when you're done, you see a grade in the grade book for this immediately after you're done. If you do not see a grade book, if you don't see a grade in the grade book immediately, then go back and do it again until you do it right. Keep doing it until you see a grade in the grade book. What's the worst that'll happen? You'll get a perfect score. So those are the only two. The big things, we are doing credibility. So in other words, you have to have credibility. And if you're working from the databases, you're probably pretty safe with the credibility. But if you're getting any internet sources, you definitely want to check on credibility. So again, when you're doing the crap test, here are resources on the crap test and what it means. So the craft test is essentially, you're looking at the currency, how recent the information is. Is it recent enough for your particular topic? And particularly if it's a website, when's the last time that website was updated? Then you're looking at reliability, what kind of information is being provided? Do whoever is giving you the information, do they provide sources for further data or questions? Make sure you check, is the information opinion-based? Is it balanced? Then the authority, this is credibility. What are the credentials of the person publishing this? You know, where's their expertise? That kind of thing. Are they reputable? And then the purpose. What's the purpose of them doing it? Is it to inform, like you? Is it biased? Is it meant to persuade, right? Is it clearly stated what the purpose is? So that's one resource. There are other resources as well. I give you another one here, a step-by-step evaluation. And then, of course, the link to the assignment itself. So those are the 2 items that are going to be due by Sunday. Now, what I want to kind of point out to you is we're in week 11, and next week we are going to have a little bit more emphasis on citations. I give you resources on structure, also on outlining. You're going to have to provide an outline of your paper. And then your works cited and reference page assignment to start practicing those citations. After that, we're in drafting, and we are close to the end, my friends, close to the end. So you definitely want to be getting your research wrapped up so that you have all your sourcing, so you can begin your citing and your drafting next week. All right, questions, concerns, issues, anything you want me to cover to get you comfortable? Remember, this is the last time we're going to meet face-to-face live as a class. Okay, so some housekeeping items. Let me stop share. No, I don't need to stop share. I guess I could stop share. Let me stop recording is what I want to do. Sorry.